Here we go again, another episode of Shoot the J. We're back here with Don Jackson. Tyrone Jackson should be joining us shortly. As is our custom, we always start off with the same question. What are you drinking? Don, what do you have today?
Well, I have a little, this is good for men, you understand? Cranberry, it's not my usual cranberry by itself. It's cran apple with a little Tito's vodka and a little mango rum. You understand? Got a nice little flavor and a squig of lime.
Oh, that's the cranberry. That's for the prostrate. I understand. That's what you need.
The brand smash.
Yeah. Well, my wife is always looking out for me. She went to the grocery store. I'm going to just pop it right here in front of you.
Oh, yeah.
You got the big Heineken right here. You know what I mean? So
there you go.
She knew the show was coming up and I needed something to drink. Oh, I just need stuff to drink in general. I don't need the show to come up for me to have something to drink. But so I do have my Heineken here as usual.
There it is.
There we go. King of beers. So
that's Budweiser. That's the Budweiser slogan.
Oh, Budweiser's King of beers?
Yeah, Budweiser's King of beers.
What is the catch line for Heineken then?
I don't know. I can't remember. I haven't seen one of those commercials in a long time.
I guess you're right. Guess you're right. So our first topic today, we have a big fight this weekend. We have a man who's
big fight.
Boxing experts have said is the pound-for-pound champion or pound-for-pound best in the world, Vasily Lomachenko. And he's fighting Teofimo Lopez, 135 pounds. He's got the IBF title. Don, give us your take on the two different fighters, their styles, and who do you predict to win this fight?
Okay, this is tough because I like both of these guys. Lomachenko is a fan favorite of mine, and I know he's a fan favorite of a lot of boxing fans. And just looking at his stats, Lomachenko is 14-1 with 10 knockouts. Mm-hmm. He is known for having a slow but methodical start, but he's able to break down boxers with his angles and his speed. Pardon me, his angles and his speed, mm-hmm. and his conditioning, because he comes in an impeccable conditioning. And then you have the up-and-coming IBF world titleist, Lopez, Teofimo Lopez, who is 15-0 with 12 knockouts, and he has, the power in both hands. He does a lot of body shots.
Right.
He has speed. The only thing that I feel that Lomachenko has on Lopez is his veteran type wiliness that he has that brings the wiliness of a veteran. So in other words, he's wise. He's kind of been in the ring with
experience.
Some experienced boxers. And Teofimo has yet to fight some more experienced people. Although he knocked out Comey, which I thought was a pretty good bout for him. He matched up well against Comey and then caught him later on in the fight and dropped him. So, this is one of those where styles make fights, and this should be a very good one. I give the edge, though, to Lopez. If he can withstand his urge to try and get Lomachenko out quickly, and he can weather that initial storm from Lomachenko, I think he can finish him, because Lomachenko will try to gamble if he is not able to, punish him.
That's a pretty good assessment. I think Lomachenko definitely has a foot speed, and he moves in a way that you don't expect from boxers. He takes angles that you're not used to seeing. He'll walk forward on you to make you think that he's coming, and then he'll pivot and turn you. And when you thought you were facing this way, he's coming from the outside to catch you on the outside. And he loves to pull and turn, and which if you're not used to, he can just suck those rounds up on you while you're trying to get used to him, and he's throwing a lot of combinations. What I say is I kind of agree with you. Lopez definitely has, I don't think it's an edge on power. I think he has a lot more power, and I actually think that his inexperience may help him in this. We'll see tomorrow. It's on ESPN. because the experienced guy may try to start trying to find the angles and timing, whereas a young guy, because he's only, I think, 22 or 23 years old, a young guy might go in there and attack him in a way that he probably hasn't seen. Like the only person who really went from as the bell rang, attacked him was Salido, and that was the first guy who beat him. When the bell rang, Salido went straight to the body, dropped his head, put it in his chest, went straight to the body, and it didn't allow for him to use all his footwork. If you're going to stand in the middle of the ring with a guy and let a guy use the whole ring, well, yeah, vis-a-vis Mayweather, the guy could use the ring and just run all day and use angles. But if you're going to push a guy into the ropes and fight off the ropes, that just takes your footwork basically out of it. So I think Lopez is brash enough, young enough, and powerful enough to beat Lomas. And also, this is one of the first guys that he's fighting that's naturally in that 135 weight division. A guy that doesn't have to build up to get to 130 something with bricks in their pockets, and but just naturally there.
I want to add to your discussion. I just recently saw the 2017 against Rigondo, the Cuban boxer. I recently watched it on ESPN just last night, and just like you said, Lomachenko wants to push and pull his boxer into different directions, and every time he tried to do that, Rigo locked him up and was holding him close. Well, closer to the end of the fight, Rigo couldn't touch him. I mean, Lomachenko just had too much speed for him and was getting the better of him, and Rigo was trying to outclass him, but he couldn't reach him, and the angles were too short, so he just gave up. So he threw the towel in on that fight, and you're right. It's the pushing and the pulling. It's the angles that Lomachenko has that makes him difficult. And the positive thing for Lopez is he has youth and he has, the power in both hands. So we'll see what happens. It should make for a pretty good fight tomorrow night. What
do you think about the dads? That's another angle. Lopez's dad trains him. Lomachenko's dad trains him. And Lopez's dad had been talking a lot of smack. Even did the cutthroat gesture right in front of Lomachenko in the lobby. Walked up on him and did the throat slash gesture. What do you think about that dynamic with the dads talking smack?
I think, when your dad is in your corner and you're boxing, you're not only boxing for yourself, but it's almost like the pride and honor of your family. That brings that extra weight, that heaviness to the bout. Now, for both of these guys, that means they have a larger chip on their shoulder than the natural boxer, because your dad is in your corner saying, son, remember what I taught you. Don't bring dishonor to the name. And, we put all this hard work in, and if you give up, I'll never look at you the same way. So you always, not saying that was said in the commentary in the ring, but, that usually is what happens when you have your family in a corner. You have a bigger chip on your shoulder, and you feel like there's more to lose because your honor and the family name is at stake. And now here we have both guys have their dads in their corner. And so it's not going to be a fight where, okay, we just hitting each other. No, it's going to turn at some point in the fight. It's going to turn serious. It doesn't turn that first round, but it's going to get serious depending on who gets the better of the other boxer first. And that's when you're going to hear the corners and their advice take a change or a turn because it's going to become personal.
Right. I mean, for me, my son boxes a bit. I've been training him since he was like 7 years old. And I don't know if I could be in a corner or be the head trainer for my son. Like when you start seeing your son start taking punishment, I mean, at what point does it become about, like you say, the family name or family honor, or you say, man, I can't continue to watch my son take punishment? But maybe if you had another guy who was an actual boxer, wasn't related to you, you would tell him, hey, tough it out, push through this. But how tempted are you to say either A, throw the towel in because it's your son, you can't watch your son take this much damage, or the opposite, saying having too much belief in your child, saying that you could push through it. Don't give up, son. Don't give up. It would be too much for me, I think, like in a bigger fight like this to be.
I've coached one of my children, and I'm gonna tell you, it
How'd
was
that
the
go?
toughest. It's one of the toughest things in the world because you teeter through that point of living vicariously through them and their accomplishments, and then having them meet the standard of your accomplishments. So
Yes.
that 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 is a hard, because you really want them to have that drive and that love for that sport that you have.
Right.
And as a dad, and having worked with and coached both my children, but not in a formal capacity as much as with my daughter and with my son.
Right.
There were some things I just did not want to see my son not do as far as on the basketball court. I wanted him to be a strong rebounder, a strong defender, and strong in the offensive. Well, I guess that's all facets of the game. But
that's the
but
thing. You want to be perfect, especially if you played the sport.
You want there's a level of perfection you want to rise, and each kid is different, and they have their own talents and abilities. So it's kind of hard. I can only imagine what Doc Rivers went through with his own son.
Yes.
At the NBA level,
Yes.
That's a totally different level. So, and I'm talking high school basketball, not even, I'm talking 4A. So I'm not even talking 5A basketball. So,
hey man, look who you talking to. My oldest son is 6'6" and some change, got a vertical where he could jump out the gym, great hands, time and coordinate for boxing, and he's an R&B singer. So I mean,
he didn't take to it. He just didn't take to the basketball. Could have been a great player.
My passion, but it's not his passion. So you can't project on him. So it's just tough, all the way around,
It's hard.
It's hard. But you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to admit our guest in a little bit early. We have our next topic, but I'm going to bring our next guest in.
Okay. Who we got?
I'm gonna let you be surprised by this one.
Megan Williams.
Mm-hmm.
Megan Williams.
Here we go.
Megan. Yeah, I'm saying her name.
What's going on? How y'all doing?
All right, how you doing, Megan?
Williams. We want to introduce her, bring her out to the show. Recently on CNN Heroes. I know she's gonna hide her face for being on.
Yeah, man.
On CNN Heroes, engineer, humanitarian, and basketball player. I also saw her doing some powerlifting the other day on Facebook.
That's right.
Powerlifting. We want to welcome her to the show.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, my fellow teammate on the court too. I might add.
That's right.
She came.
He was on your team. He was on your team.
My teammate. You understand?
Yes, I was.
Was I on a team too? I can't remember.
No, we played against you.
We played opposite.
Yeah.
Who won?
Yeah, you abandoned us, man.
Oh.
Yeah, he sure did, Megan. I remember that.
Oh.
I think we won a couple.
We did. We hung with y'all. We hung with y'all for a little bit.
Let me tell you a funny story about Megan. We're in a meeting together at work, and it's a big meeting as always. We have like a progress meeting every 2 weeks. And so after the meeting is over, it was like a multi-million-dollar project. She looks at me, she points, she says, "I need to speak to you after this meeting." I'm like, what did I do? What is going on here? Like, I'm thinking it's going to be some G15 classified, you know what I mean?
Meeting after the meeting.
Yeah. We walk out of the trailer where we meet on a construction site, and she grabbed my elbow. She said, "This basketball game I see you play with, I want in on this Saturday basketball."
I couldn't let him have all the fun.
That's right, Megan. Give him his attention.
So we brought you in a little bit early. We haven't got to the Saints portion of our debate. But what we're going to talk about right now is Michael Jordan and LeBron James. LeBron has won his 4th title. Of course, Michael's legacy is set in stone as one of the greatest of all time, or many consider the greatest of all times.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we're going to talk about now. Let me get your take first. What's your position on this?
Oh, man. That's hard. That's hard. I mean.
Wait. I'm sorry. Where's your drink? What are you drinking?
Oh, man, it's not far. Don't worry. It's right here. It's right here. Don't worry about it.
I like your glass, Megan. It looks similar to mine. You understand?
Mm-hmm. I got this agitator right here. It's bourbon.
Wow.
It's bourbon that's aged in red wine barrels.
Oh, that sounds like something I would like. The agitator. That sounds like something.
Yeah, man. Go get you some.
Cheers.
Cheers to y'all.
Y'all always get the fancy stuff. I be coming in with cans and Mad
Oh, you
Dog.
coming in with the 40s, huh?
Bro, you got to pour yours into a glass, man. You on the tube. No, come on, man.
You're right.
Drinking
I
out
should
the
have
can.
poured it in.
Huh? Come on, man. You got to get it together.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
we're going to have to teach you a little bit.
He could teach you about drinking, but I'll.
In my line of work, you need those shots. Trust me.
Trust me, in ours, you do as well.
Yes.
You need more than a few. Trust me.
Give us your take, Megan. What do you think?
Oh man, that's such a hard take. I think it's hard to compare the two sometimes. I mean, Jordan's legacy is right in front of our face. That's the legacy I grew up with. You know, I was the Jordan and then Kobe era.
Mm-hmm.
But you cannot argue against LeBron's talent. I mean, you really can't. He is, you know, he's been in the league for 20 years almost, it seems, 16, 20 years, something like that. And he's still playing at such a high level, you know, and not many people can say that they're still in their prime, you know, 20 years later. He came in the game at, you know, he came straight out of high school and just, you know, flipped the total game of basketball. You know, he gave Kobe a run for his money. I'm going to be a Kobe fan to the day I die, so no one's ever going to top that in my book. But it's so hard to argue with LeBron being one of the greatest all time. He's such a well-rounded basketball player also. Like, he's not just great at you know, shooting threes or playing defense. He's such a well-rounded athlete, and he's a true athlete. Yes. You know, you watch this man going up and down the court at 6 foot something, 200 some odd pounds, and he's, you know, he's not running like a 200-pound guy. You know, and he's able to keep up with these young ones like, you know, like we really haven't seen in a long time. But he's somebody that just he gets better every year. Like he manages to stay amongst the highest caliber of players every year that we have seen him play. You know, he's had his injuries as all players do, but it's hard to argue with that MVP. It's real hard to argue with him being worthy of the MVP. He's certainly in probably top 5, top 3 for me all time.
Okay.
LeBron, Kobe, Jordan.
Okay.
Hard to argue with those.
All right. Don, what do you say?
No, I agree with Megan a lot about his athleticism, his totally well-roundedness as an individual, his social activism, you know, putting his money where his mouth is when it comes to education. You know, I'm big on education and funding college dreams for students. And then, you know, I really thought he was overhyped when he entered the landscape coming right out of high school. And I'm like, who is this Vincent St. Mary's kid, or, you know, that's coming out of Ohio, and, you know, all the hype surrounding him. And then watching him play that first season, I'm like, oh, wow, this guy got some skills, you know what I mean? So I really disliked Jordan when I was, you know, growing up and watching him play, because I was a big-time Pat Riley, Ewing, Knicks fan. Before Pat Riley and Ewing and the Knicks, I was a LA fan with Magic and, you know, all of those guys, and Kareem. I loved, you know, that growing up, because we had folks in our family who cheered for Boston. So it was a big thing to go to our aunt's house, and we divide the house up. And I had 8 cousins over there, and everybody had their pick, but we only had maybe 1 or 2 people that was for Boston. And everybody else in the house was LA fans. So, you know, it made for some good times. But I watched myself look at Jordan and what he accomplished and say, wow, he's a heck of an offensive player and threat. And then, you know, Kobe had his moments too. I can't take anything from Kobe. But then to see LeBron kind of channel a Magic / Jordan approach to the game, where I can be a threat and score, but I can also make you respect my teammates, because I'm going to give them assists and dishes and put them in the best possible light to win. And then taking several different teams to the big dance. I mean, that's to me, you know, you go from the years of we looked at the glory days of the NBA, where everybody was loyal to a team, and you know they were on that team for life. Like Karl Malone was with the Jazz for life. You know, Sean Kemp was with Seattle Supersonics almost for life, and Gary Payton and so on and so forth, till Gary got traded to the Lakers, in his final years. But you look at those dynasties and how people were loyal to their teams, and now you're looking at an individual who was able to go to several different markets from the East to the West and still pull off a championship. To me, that's greatness.
Yeah.
And to make people better around him. And we've watched those teams tank when he leaves. So you kind of say, what kind of, basketball mind and player is this that 1 year you in the playoffs and not, huh?
1 year you're in the finals.
Yeah, 1 year you in the finals. The next year you don't even touch the playoffs, or you might make it to the first round if you don't have LeBron. And it's like, man, what was he doing with these guys? And what kind of difference maker is this guy? So I agree with Megan in the fact that arguably the case for MVP of the entire league has to be for LeBron. Because without LeBron, Lakers not going to the finals.
No.
Lakers might not even crack the first round.
Right. And the other thing about LeBron that really sets him apart is his basketball IQ. He is such an intelligent basketball player. And I was the same way. When LeBron came in, I wasn't really a fan. Also because Kobe was still in the league and, like, my loyalties were there. And a couple of seasons in, it was like I still wasn't on the LeBron train, but I could definitely recognize his talent. And then to see him mature as a player and what he's doing with recognizing what talent he needs to surround himself with. Because let's not mince words here. LeBron certainly has some influence on who they're bringing to these teams that he's playing on. You don't get a team like the Lakers with LeBron and AD and all these other people without LeBron having some say in it. So to see him surround himself with these other very athletic guys, and it's a little bittersweet to see AD flourish as much as he has, but he's such a well-balanced complement to LeBron. LeBron did something really, really well there. And LeBron's kind of in his own bubble in that sense. It's so hard to compare what LeBron does because he is so well complemented versus what Jordan or Kobe did. We didn't really have as many super teams in the past as we do now. So I think sometimes the level of competition is just a little bit different. I mean, the game has evolved so much in the last 2-3 decades. But if you got to pick, some of your top 4, top 5, he absolutely has to be in the question. And at that point, when you're talking top 5 in basketball, it's little nuances that can, go from 1 to 5. So it's like top 5 is just like everybody's on even playing field in top 5. Kobe, LeBron, Jordan, Allen Iverson's one of the top for me.
You don't have Kareem in your top? Where's Kareem at?
He is. He was my number 5. Hey. But Allen Iverson's also one because I was a point guard. So I very much modeled a lot of what I did after him. But, like I said, that's such a high caliber that these guys are playing at that whether you're number 1 or number 5, you are absolutely the upper echelon of basketball players.
Yes.
Now, David told me, Megan, that he has something controversial to say about LeBron and Jordan. So I'm going to open the floor up and see what, because I've been waiting to hear about this all week. So let me see what he has to say about this matchup. Because I believe in eras, the different eras of players and that kind of thing. But let me hear what he got to say. He's sitting up so we can see what he's about to say here.
So I'm getting ready to welcome the flood of comments that's going to hit this page after I say what I'm going to say. And a lot of people are not going to like what I have to say, okay? But I don't care. I really don't care, okay? Because you may not like it, but I would challenge anybody who wants to leave a comment to refute what I say, okay? Michael Jordan is the greatest system player we have ever seen in our entire lives. You put Michael Jordan in a system, and he wins. You take him out of the system, he does not win. And it's not up for debate. It's all history. He's not playing any more games. All we can judge this on is based on what he's done what he's done throughout his career. Okay? What did Michael Jordan do before the triangle offense?
Well, he scored a heck of a lot of points, David. That's what he did.
So does James
A heck
Harden.
of a lot of points. Now that's where I kind of like. I'm saying a systems player, Michael Jordan.
Did he?
I don't know about that.
We're judging winning and losing, right?
I had to put my glasses on for this one. Hold on, man. I gotta come in.
We're judging winning and losing, right? Is everybody's talking about 6 rings and winning and losing and influencing winning? A lot of people scored a lot of points. Nobody scored more than Wilt Chamberlain. How many championships did Wilt win? Nobody scored more than George Gervin. So it's not scoring is one thing, but winning. Jordan has never won anything out of a specific formula. And let me give you the formula. The formula is triangle offense, Hall of Fame coach Phil Jackson, Scottie Pippen has never won anything without Scottie Pippen, and a 4 power forward, a defensive-minded power forward. If he doesn't have those 3 things, those 4 things, Scottie Pippen, a dominant 4, Phil Jackson in a triangle offense, he gets bounced out of the playoffs or doesn't make the playoffs. Nobody's been bounced out more than the first round.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? When he was 23 and made it into the NBA, made his first round into the playoffs, he got bounced out. First of all, Michael Jordan has never won a playoff game against Larry Bird. Not one. We're not talking about series. He never won a game against Larry Bird. A playoff game against. Everybody talks about the mythical game where he scored 63 points. They lost that game. He got swept 2 times. Name a team that has swept LeBron out of the playoffs in the first round. Any team. LeBron has never been beat in the first round of the playoffs with multiple coaches, multiple players, multiple stars, or no stars. He took a team with 0 stars with Matthew Dellavedova, J.R. Smith, Tristan Thompson, and Timothy Mozgov, 6 games with a 68-win Golden State Warrior team. Okay? Jordan does not win outside of the triangle offense. And to Chris Broussard, I'm going to give this to Chris Broussard. I love Chris Broussard. He's one of my favorite commentators. And he says, Jordan has no weaknesses. That's why I favor him over LeBron. That's a lie. Jordan has several weaknesses. It's the whole reason they put the triangle offense in, because Jordan does not pass going to his left. The scout report on Michael Jordan is, here's the scout report, 2 things. He's a 2-pat left-handed dribbler, meaning he won't dribble more than 2 times with his left hand. Now, you'll see Jordan switch back and forth. You can watch any tape you want. 1, 2 with the left hand, and he's going back right. The scout report also was, if you force him to his left, he will not pass. He will shoot it every time, okay? The Pistons destroyed him because they could just force him into an area, and they knew he was going to shoot and not get tunnel vision on the rim and not shoot, okay? He got beat down 4 games to 1. 4 games to 1. Took a 3-2 lead over Detroit and still got beat 4 games to 2 until they got the triangle offense in. Now with the triangle offense, he can face the defense, catch it in the scoring position, see the defense coming from both sides, and force him to pass. Whereas when he had the ball creating himself, he could not beat upper echelon teams, okay? And I want to disagree with Megan for one second. All they had in the 80s was super teams. Like, we don't see it now because the players form their own super team, so to speak. But look at the Boston team. That's 5 Hall of Famers on the team. Larry Bird, Robert Parrish, Kevin McHale, Bill Walton was on the team. Dennis Johnson, that's 5 Hall of Famers on one team. Lakers, they had more Hall of Famers than anybody. Magic Johnson, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, James Worthy. 2 seasons they had Bob McAdoo also on the team, which was a 2-time league MVP. Byron Scott was on that team. Those teams were stacked.
AC Green.
AC Green. Even
you're right. You're right. And I think it's more to clarify that is like you see such a heavier influence from the players now to create those super teams versus the coaches and the GMs than you did in the past.
Right.
The era of social media and, just having everything at the access of your fingertips makes it a lot more easier to see how players are influencing that. So it's a lot easier for us to see LeBron sort of cherry picking the people that he wants and the influence of him surrounding himself with certain type of people. And I think there's still, even though Jordan I don't completely disagree with what you're saying about Jordan being a systems player, but there's still something about Jordan that made him very excellent in that system that a lot of people can't succeed in.
No doubt. No,
you know,
I don't want to
you
take
see
away
it a
from
little
Jordan.
bit, and eventually the Bulls created a system that worked to Jordan's strengths, and that's a lot on coaching as well. You know, you can't always. It's not just about your level of talent; it's about the coaches behind you as well, giving you that support. So, while Jordan was a systems player, he certainly made the system work to his advantage as well, which not a lot of players can do, or not all players can do. I think LeBron could be that as well, but you know, LeBron said he's really in sort of his own conversation. And I would say the same thing about Kobe as well. In his legacy, it was just such a different type of conversation about what that system really looked like with Kobe, because you know he had several down years after Shaq left, and you know for a long time his system had been dismantled.
Yes,
but he was still succeeding at such a high level individually. And you know there's so many things that factor into that. Like I said, coaching and you know all the stuff that happens behind the scenes that we don't see. We get to see the hour and a half of basketball on the court and see, you know, Kobe or LeBron or Jordan score 60 plus points. And that doesn't always equate to a win or a championship, which really sucks because it kind of takes away from some of that legacy we've talked about.
I agree with. Go ahead, Don.
While we're talking about what's going on behind the scenes, you know, I read something about the Clippers today and heard Shannon Sharp talk about how the back room of the Clippers locker room was chaotic behind the scenes. Part of that was due to Kawhi Leonard enjoying some perks with the Toronto Raptors and the culture being set in the Clippers of, you know, Beverly, Patrick Beverly and some of those other guys really working their tail off, not maybe as skilled as Kawhi, but, you know, coming in with this culture of, you know, back to the wall, you know, strong mentality where we're giving it our all every time.
Blue collar
mentality. And so, what's your thoughts on that scene going on with the Clippers and how Tyronn Lue now will have to try and make some adjustments? Because if you have two players with prima donna kind of mentality, because I'm throwing Paul George in there, and it might not sound popular for some of those Paul George lovers, but I do believe he thinks he's a prima donna in my book.
I think they have many problems. I think the biggest problem is the two superstars you brought in almost play the same position. They can't play off each other.
Right.
Kawhi is a scorer, shooter, a wing player, and Paul George is a wing player. Both of them are kind of need the ball in their hands to be great. When's the last time you seen Paul George cut to the basket by alley-oop? When's the last time you seen him get an offensive rebound and dunk it back in? Paul George is in the corner waiting for the ball. Kawhi Leonard is ball dominant as well, and they can't play off of each other. LeBron and AD, LeBron can bring the ball up the court, drop it in the post to AD, clear out, let AD work. Or they can run high pick and roll where AD picks for LeBron, he rolls the basket, LeBron can throw the lob or choose to keep it himself or shoot the three.
They dish it for the three.
Right. They can't play off each other. That's one. There's no flexibility. They traded all of their draft picks to get Kawhi and to get Paul George. Okay. So they have no flexibility to get anybody else. All right. Like you said, there's a blue collar team before then. Now you come in with prima donnas. I heard Kawhi not only was late because he lives in San Diego, for crying out loud, which is 3.5 hours away from LA. He's always late, and he brought his fiance on a plane where they said no family, and he got his fiance on the plane.
Yeah,
that's what I heard.
Yeah,
he got these perks that nobody else got. So how do you know, Megan, you played with teams, and I know I've played with Dave and I've played with teams, and whatever the rules are, the team rules are, nobody breaks it. And if you see that, then that creates some instant chemistry issues, because I'm saying, wait a minute, coach, my time is not as good as his time.
Right.
You know, if he doesn't show up at the same time as me, well, how is he allowed this exception? And now you're allowing his fiance to come? And my fiance can't come? What's going on?
My baby mama can't get on the flight. 2 of them.
Yeah, which one? Which one? You gotta prioritize.
You gotta pick one. Pick one, Red.
You can't bring both.
I need 3 spots. Baby mama 1, baby mama 2, and jump off seats on this side, right?
Yeah, just don't sit them all next to each other. Nah, it's you know, when you play as a team, you are 5 individuals that's supposed to move as one. You know, we all have our strengths and weaknesses. Again, the whole idea of building a team is to supplement where you're weaker in one area. When you're just held up on a pedestal above everyone else and you're given these freedoms and luxuries that everyone else is not, it's hard to see that we are a team and that we move as one. When you have too many superstars that don't understand working as a unit and that, you know what, tonight I just need to be the rebound guy. I'm going to let LeBron take it. I'm going to let AD be the guy. I just need to be the rebound guy. Or I need to be the guy that sits in the corner and just waits for the 3 and just waits for my moment. Even if you only have one moment, like that's still a moment that could change. Danny Green the other night, that would have been his moment had he made that shot. And he would have very easily been the hero versus the villain.
Right.
That Daniel Green.
Daniel Green slippers.
Daniel Green slippers. Now these are some sandals.
Boy, that brought back some memories. That brought back some memories.
You jumped, didn't you, Megan? When he pulled that sandal out.
I did. I flinched a little bit. I flinched. You got a little PTSD from that one.
But he was supposed to be hitting the whipping. That was the Daniel Green was supposed to be giving the whipping that night. Because when that ball came in, that was his shot. But I agree wholeheartedly with what you said, Megan, about, you know, knowing your role as a unit and playing to the strengths of everyone on the team.
No, I mean, I think what Megan says is right. Be a star in your role. It's not always being a star scoring 30, 40, 50 points. Maybe being a star is say, I'm going to lock this guy up today and make him shoot 30 or 40%. Or maybe it's everything comes off the board is mine. Or maybe like Dwight Howard, which I was so surprised with him, that he was rallying the teammates on the side with the towel saying, man, great, come on, guys, good job. You know, it's just like you say, the star is going to get most of the praise when something goes down. But guess what? 10, 15 years pass by and you got that championship ring on your finger. You know what I mean? You point to that. You can say, son, I was a world champion. Tell your daughter, I was a world champion. Nobody's going to care if you scored 15 points or 30 or a game. Right. All you know at the end of the day, you go down in history books as a world champion. Yeah. And I think the Clippers lost their identity. They came in as a blue-collar team. They went 6 games with the fully loaded Golden State Warriors. Kevin Durant, Klay Thompson, Steph Curry, Draymond Green. They won 6 games with a no-name squad. Montrezl Harrell, Lou Williams, Danilo Gallinari. Then when they trade for these quote-unquote superstars, Don, you know we got some experience with that when he's supposed to upgrade you with players on the team.
Oh, my goodness.
Upgrade you with players on the team. Then you find yourself losing games that we won these games before. The meltdown started once Lou Williams went to Magic City. Once a dude leave the bubble to go to a strip club, your mind not on the game, bro.
Well, his fiance wasn't in there.
What
That's what he got for not bringing her. That's what he got for not bringing her. But you know,
he wanted some wings, man. He wanted wings.
Yes, that's absolutely why he was going there, because the wings are just.
That's the only place that man could have got wings in Atlanta. That's it. That's the only place he got wings. What is going on with the Saints and Taysom Hill?
Oh man, I think even the Saints are having a little bit of an identity crisis right now. You know, trying to figure out, at least from an outside perspective, right? For the last 5 years, really. Oh, Drew Brees is old. He's washed up, whatever. You know, trying to figure out identity. What's most likely his last year.
Please.
You know, and maybe it's time. It's better to retire a day too early than a day too late.
Yes.
So it almost seems like we're trying to figure out how to mesh the world of the Saints beyond Drew Brees with the Drew Brees era, and it's not been a smooth process. Taysom Hill, just like I said about LeBron, is one of the most purely athletic people I
Gifted
have seen
athlete.
in a long time. He is the definition of a pure athlete. A lot of people, even at the top of their game, would aspire to be like him. He is one of the most versatile players you will ever see. Just look at if you look at his stat sheet, he probably got every position behind his name because he's been in almost every slot. And it worked really well last year, but I think the problem has become it's so telegraphed. When he gets in the game, it's one or two plays. Taysom's gonna run it,
Cover my
or
emblem.
he's gonna pass it off. He's gonna hand it off to one of our running backs, and that has not been a smooth process. Him running the ball, we kind of got lucky last week with him running that touchdown in. But you almost know, and they're putting him in on these big downs.
Yes.
It's third and long, and we putting Taysom in, and it's like, okay, the defense knows exactly what we're about to do. He's become too much of a trick player instead of us like purely using him for his actual talents. We getting too cute with this Taysom stuff. And I love when it works great. But your ratio of good to bad is starting to flip.
So the dip on the wrong side.
Yeah, you starting to go on the wrong side of the curve.
Yes.
At this point. And Taysom has said he wants to be a franchise quarterback. He wants to be a quarterback. I don't know if that's the role for him.
Black.
But all the noise that was made in the offseason about Taysom was about him signing to be one of our future quarterbacks because that's what he wanted. He didn't want to just be the gadget guy. He came out and said, I really, it's my goal to be a franchise quarterback and, to purely be in the quarterback role. He fits in that sort of Swiss Army knife role, but we're using it in a bad way. We're telegraphing it every time we bring him out. We know. It's gotten to the point where when Taysom comes out, it's like, why are we doing this? Last year, there was so much excitement. So much excitement when we brought him out. And now it's like, oh, come on, y'all. We know y'all about to run the ball or Taysom's going to run. Taysom's going to run right. We already know. Do something else.
So
go ahead.
Megan is saying, and I had to put the glasses on for this one because I had to look at the stat sheet with 5 games played with Taysom Hill at quarterback, 1 rush and 1 touchdown. So 6 points. All right, through 5 games.
Mm-hmm.
So if we know it and we the fans, the other coaches know what's coming when he goes in the backfield.
Exactly.
If my brother Tyrone was here, he would say those genius coaches. Sean Payton continues to feel like he can outsmart everybody in the league. Right. My man, they're watching the same game film on you all that you're watching on somebody else. Mm-hmm. So when they see this man come into the game and you have him lined up in the Wildcat formation, or you got it lined up behind center, and Drew Brees is out, he's going to try to run it. Right. And guess what? His ego won't let him hand the ball off to Alvin Kamara in some cases.
Right.
Or what's the other running back? Latavius Murray. Latavius Murray was halfway through the line, almost had the first down with the ball in his hand when Taysom Hill pulled it back. And a DB hit him so hard, he made him fumble the ball. We are not and you say it, man, we're not putting ourselves in the strongest possible point on the field at all times. 3rd and long with an option play? Come on, man, run the ball.
Y'all trying to run trick plays. That's not.
Alvin Kamara through 5 games, y'all. 4 rushes, 3 receiving touchdowns, 7 touchdowns, 4 rushing touchdowns, 3 receiving touchdowns through 5 games. Give the ball to Kamara. Give the ball to Latavius Murray. Give the ball to these folks that you've paid money to. Dude, Emmanuel Sanders, come on, man. We got to stop acting like we so much smarter than everybody.
We got to stop getting cute.
You're trying to play some basic football sometimes. Come on, man. You can see it coming a mile away. I put these glasses on. It is blowing up right in your face.
We got to get back to the basics sometimes. I mean,
to the basics.
Even our screenplays. Our screenplays are so telegraphed. It makes my whole body is just on pins and needles when we try running a screenplay because I'm like, there's another 5 yards we lost. And every other team that runs a screenplay against us, the most successful that the team has probably been in the whole season.
Now, we added some pieces on defense. Dave, I'm going to let you get in here. But I don't see the defense gelling like it has in previous years. It doesn't have that smash mouth identity, and it does not have the lockdown identity. We used to bend but not break, but now we breaking.
We're shattering.
We're shattering. With it.
First of all, what lockdown can you have when your offense is going 3 and out? You can start off with lockdown, but when you're exhausted, you can just forget about lockdown when you're exhausted because you're not playing complementary football. 3 and out. Now the defense just barely walked to the sideline and sat down before you got to get back out and push on some more 300-pound human beings. All right, that's number 2. 2007 Saints, to me, were most successful. They were most successful because didn't matter your draft status, didn't matter your contract, it didn't matter who brought you in, whether Jim Haslett brought you in or whether Sean Payton brought you in. If you could play, you played. Taysom Hill to me is the definition of we paid this guy $22 million for the next 2 years. Now we have to use him.
Yeah.
To me, because before when he was undrafted and he came in camp, or we used the 7th round, however he came to the Saints, however we got him, okay, we thought, man, this guy is a monster on special teams. Man, can't anybody keep up with this guy? Okay, then you started using him as a result of that. But when you when you let Bridgewater go and you spent $22 million on him, now there's pressure to play him because before he was making what, $400,000 a year, $300-something thousand a year. Now when you're making, you put an $8 million signing bonus. Now just get him on the field. We paying that boy good money. Get him out there.
Yes, but play him in the right positions. Right. Put him in the right positions. Put him on the line. Let him block. Put him in the slot. Let him be a receiver.
Yeah.
Put him in.
Let him throw the ball.
Huh?
Let him throw the ball.
Let him throw the ball.
He got an arm. He got a cannon on him. Now his accuracy could probably use some work.
Right.
This man been talking about being a quarterback for a long time. Put him out there and let's see if Drew is not going to throw the deep ball like he's been criticized for. Let Taysom get out there and throw it. Now, don't let that be his only play, which is where we've messed up on offense. Because what they do is they'll put Taysom in and then they'll line Drew up in one of the – and it's such a wasted opportunity. Put a real receiver in. Drew Brees is not about to run 5 yards down the field, let alone 20, to catch a ball.
Right.
He can't.
And that worked last year when nobody knew what was going on. But we know what's going on. That don't work no more.
No, it doesn't work. So you wasting an opportunity by trying to play these cute little things. Again, it worked for a moment last year. Now you got to figure out, okay, we got Emmanuel Sanders. That's our deep threat. Traquan when he's healthy.
Traquan.
When he's healthy and he's understanding the playbook, that's a deep threat. When Mike Thomas comes back and he's your check down. Mike Thomas is not a guy that's going to run 40, 50 yards down the field. He might every now and then, but that's not his primary target. Use those weapons as they are meant to be used. Emmanuel Sanders can get up the field faster than probably anybody else on our team. Let's do that.
Let me say this. When you talk about Taysom Hill being a great athlete, he is the best athlete on the team. I would definitely say he's the best athlete on the team. Okay? When you talk about size, quickness, speed, strength, durability, all of the above. And I'm gonna throw out some names. Michael Vick, Steve Young, Deion Sanders were all super athletic, great athletes. But the difference between them and Taysom Hill is they are also great football players. Yeah. That's what we can't say about Taysom Hill. He's a great athlete who plays football. He's not a great football player who's an athlete. And to me, that's the difference. Just like you said, when you hand the ball, everybody knows he's going to run with it. You just have to stack the line. Okay, Taysom Hill's in. They're going to run the ball. So there's only so much you can do when everybody knows it's coming. He can't read a D. He dropped back for one pass, and he was back there, got happy feet, started to run, and then he ran for like maybe 1 or 2 yards, okay? He can't read the D. He's not a great football player. Again, I'm going to get the hate mail because of what I said about Jordan today and also about Taysom Hill about being a great football player. He's not. He's a great athlete who plays football.
Right. But, I also think that, again, to talk to the coaching piece, all those guys that you mentioned, Mike Vick, Steve Young, Deion Sanders, they were in very established roles. They weren't always hopping between tight end, running back, quarterback, special teams receiver.
That's a
They
good
had
point.
an established position to play and become great in and to show that greatness. We haven't done that with Taysom. We flip-flopping this man all over the field every 2 plays. We don't get to see if he can develop that football IQ, not that athlete IQ, because those are 2 different things.
Yes.
We have not seen him get the opportunity to be a good football player who is also a phenomenal athlete. We have seen the athleticism of him get slid into the football role.
But let me say this. I'm going to turn it to Don real quick. Let me say this. We don't have a lot of time. He's a Marlin. So he went on a 4-year mission trip after he graduated. He's 30 years old now. So how much time does he have to develop? Most people out of the league by the same age, 32, 33 or so. So it's not like we got to do to sacrifice how many seasons to develop him if he is going to be that guy. Right. He's 30.
Put him in a role. Put him in a role and let him see if we can succeed instead of trying to. Yes, he can be the Swiss Army knife, but you got to put him in a role and say, this is your role. Do this and see if he can do it. And that takes adjustment. Sometimes you got to be able to adjust on the fly with that. But we're not even giving him a chance to adjust because he's, okay, now you're tight end. Okay, now you're a special teams receiver.
I agree with Megan. Give him his role, and let's finish the season with him in that role.
Right.
And you can use him as special teams, but give him a role, and let's allow him to flourish in that role. And then guess what? You have other pieces. Let's start using them and showcasing them so that we can get back to what we know. By not this heart attack football where we up, we down, and we looking for Tom.
Sponsored by Bear Aspirin.
You know.
Yeah.
And all these
we about to fight everybody in our household.
Our blood pressure is going through the roof just watching this one game and saying, man, they're not gonna come back from this. I don't know why I'm watching, but you're tied to it because your heart is involved. So I'm with Megan. You got to give this man an identity, give him a role, and let him try and flourish in that role. If you're going to run him as a third or fourth check down receiver, run him as a check down. If you're going to run him as a tight end, put him as a tight end, let him help with a 2 tight end blocking scheme. We could use some good blocking because Murray and Kamara can bust it open if they get one less hand on them on that first tier. Because if you get to the second tier, they can break it open, but you got to have better blocking. And it seems like our offensive line right now, if you touch him, it's like a powder. Oh, he's like a powdered donut. The powder coming off everywhere. Oh.
That's pudding.
Yeah.
Wow.
They fragile. They fragile nowadays. But
they're known for being a strong line. From what I've heard, there's some excellent offensive line players, but we got to do a better job with play calling to support them.
We did. Thank you. The play calling, because no offensive lineman just wants to pass block all day. That's how you get hurt and get beat up. But once when we call a run, if I'm an offensive lineman, now I can grab your pads, and I can push you forward now. But now I got the world's biggest ballet dancer jumping side to side. Okay.
Man, look at big Eric McCoy when Alvin Kamara ran that 50-some-odd yard touchdown. My man saw the light at the end of the tunnel. He was like, "This is my moment. I've been waiting for this all game." And he did what you let 300 pounds come running down the field at you, see if you don't get out the way.
Get out the way.
I'm making an injury. Oh, my God.
Listen, my hamstring is going to cramp up the moment I see him coming at me.
Pull a hammy.
Look how well he did. Listen, he was at full speed. It might have only been like 2.5 miles an hour, but dude was going at full speed.
They say he went 17 miles per hour on that play.
Wow.
And he did such a great job when you see that role flip. That's a coaching thing. We talked about it with basketball. Your coach has to be the leader of your team as well. We have so much talent. That's not a question. But this play calling,
can they pull it together?
We gotta have a come to Jesus about this play calling, because like you said, the heart attacks that come every time we get the ball, we can't keep doing it. We're not gonna survive as Saints fans till the end of the season at this rate.
I'm getting too old for this, Megan.
Me too.
This be like it being in a bad relationship. Are they gonna be happy when they come home? Or it's gonna be bad when they come home?
You gotta walk on eggshells.
Oh yeah, exactly. I watch the Saints like this. You know,
You never know which way it's gonna go. And the defense.
Do I come home early or do I stay out a little late?
Well,
Yeah. You gotta check the cameras before you come home to know what
You
you're
gotta check the cameras. Did
exactly.
they throw the trash can in the yard? Or
A
did
whole
they
nother
leave the packet
conversation.
behind the gate?
Exactly. Exactly.
Exactly. Did I put the car in neutral first before I pushed it out the driveway? So I put that no-dose in their teeth? The chamomile?
It's just sleepy time tea.
Chamomile, that's what
You don't
we
have to
call it,
do no
chamomile.
sleepy time tea. Just give them that herbal sleepy time.
That's
They'll
it.
go straight to bed.
Well, y'all, want to thank everybody for coming in, signing in for today. I enjoyed the conversation today. Next week, we will be back at it again. Definitely want to send a shout out to Megan for being our surprise guest today.
Cheers, Megan.
Very knowledgeable
Yes.
about sports. Also, again, shout out again because she was on CNN Heroes as a hero in our community. I know she got a lot of fan mail because of her.
Yeah, we're not gonna talk about that.
We're not gonna talk
Oh,
about that.
really?
We're not gonna
That's
talk
for
about
a side conversation. I'm going to hear about this.
Nah, my cup is empty now. There's not time for that.
Yeah, okay, well, that'll be a side conversation. We'll talk about
Yeah.
that.
Oh, I got a question for you though, David.
Yeah.
Who you picking for the fight this weekend?
Oh, we talked about that right before you got on. So I'm picking Teofimo Lopez. I think it's right for upset. I even put a few little ducats on it, just a few. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Not much. Small amount.
Yeah, say that louder.
Even put a few dollars on it. But I
Don't
think
put
it's
you.
right for upset. Young, strong, power in both hands. I think it's time.
Okay, what you got, Donald?
Lopez, I'm with him too. Even though Lomachenko is my boy, I just think
Yeah.
the
I'm
youth.
gonna ride the Loma train.
Oh,
Lomachenko is my.
Loma.
Yeah, I'm gonna ride that train. I
Loma.
think his.
We got predictions here.
I think his maturity. If they can go deeper into, round 8, 9, 10, I think Loma's gonna really show who he is. I think that
Okay.
maturity and that. He's fought almost 400 fights, something like that, some crazy number like that.
300.
I think that expertise will carry him if they can get into the late rounds. However, I think Lopez can catch him with a surprise in some of the early rounds. I think, if nothing else, this is probably the boxing match we've all been waiting to see for a long time. The pure level of talent here is astronomical.
Do you want to put a little wager on this?
Okay.
Now,
Okay.
now
What
this
you
is
got?
what I say. I'm a gentleman, so I don't bet with money. Okay. I
Okay.
do have things I've done, like maybe have a little egg McMuffin brought to me or something for breakfast. You know what I mean? That kind of
Listen,
thing.
man, I will help you with the schooling, and that's about it.
That's what we need.
I think it's she's not doing no service with a smile, brother.
Oh, I need
I know better than
McDonald's.
that.
No ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
No, I need that bus. She said the right thing. Don't talk her down. I need help. It's killing me.
Yeah, you gotta know me better than that now. Yeah, I'm gonna put my money on Lomachenko. I think if anything, it's just gonna be a phenomenal fight.
It's a good pick. It'll be an upset if Lopez wins. He's not a favorite, so
Yeah.
I'm going for the upset. But Lomachenko's favorite, and it's a great pick to pick Lomachenko.
Yeah, I'm also a really big fan of Lomachenko just in general. So I'm gonna stick to what I know. It's hard for me to go against one of my favorites. So
That's Don's boy.
we'll see. Good choice. He's a smart man.
All right, everybody. Thanks so much for joining on. We'll see y'all next time. We'll shoot the J next time, and I'll let y'all know who our special guest is next week. Megan, you're welcome to come on anytime. Anytime you want to come on, you got the link. You can join us anytime.
All right, I will. I'll be back. I'll be
For
back.
that prediction segment too, we got to have it just for the 5 minutes after that.
Just for the 5 minutes.
Might happen. 5 minets so y'all can talk. Y'all talk. You know what I mean?
Right.
All right, guys. Thank y'all for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Of course,
All right,
man.
man.
Take it easy.
Y'all
Take
have a
care.
good one.
All right.
Bye.